Yeah, any number of reasons why they
I
could
think
have
they all
could have done
migrated to
that.
Mexico.
Could be, yeah, a plausible theory as any other.
Yeah. And they heard, word of a coastal paradise, and they all got tired of living in the desert.
That I can completely sympathise with. So yeah, so how are your rescue efforts going?
Pretty well, actually. Making decent profits.
Mhm.
Only blown up once, and it was my own damn fault. I
Oh.
accidentally shot the station from the inside.
Oh yeah, that'll do it.
I couldn't see what weapons, what I had cycled. I thought I was on my limpets, and it was my lasers. Oops!
Oops.
They did not appreciate that.
No, I guess I didn't at that. Yeah. Oh.
Uh, oh, we have a terrorist here. Get rid of them.
All right. Oh, I've been spending the last few hours swearing at my Twitch stream for not working properly.
You've been doing combat on the Twitch stream again.
No, I think I finally
I have to say, I
got
would
the
be,
settings sorted.
Right.
By that, well-known process of trial and error and pulling out what's left of my hair.
Yes.
How many collector limpets have I got left? I'm picking up pods at the moment. Ah, got enough for another 2 lots after this. So yeah, it's amazing how one simple setting can just like screw up your whole stream.
Yeah.
So just doing a little test stream on Twitch at the moment, and I might try another test stream to YouTube, just see that, stream to both without it being choppy and have it playing at least semi-smoothly. But I'm up to 5,200 passengers.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I actually spent the last couple of days catching up because, we've had a lot of new people dropping in and all kinds of queries and things. And so, of course, I've had to be fielding questions and stuff and helping them out, which, of course, I've got no problem doing.
Playing admin and
All of that, and it means that I didn't sort of get hardly any rescuing done yesterday. So today, I'm kind of making up for lost time somewhat.
oh crap! I forgot my limpets.
Don't forget your limpets. It's
I
like
really
forgetting
wish
your
they had
fuel
a
scoop.
button for that.
Yeah, limpets, fuel scoop, things like that. So easy to forget, aren't they?
Keys, phone.
Keys, phone. Yeah,
Yeah, check your
they're common
pockets.
ones.
Oh, I heard a really. I have to credit this to pen holderness.
That's the leaked answer to checking your pockets.
Glasses, wallet, keys, and phone.
Oh yeah,
Glasses, wallet, keys, and phone.
yeah, that's a
If you
good one.
forget them, then you were gonna moan. Glasses, wallet, keys, and phone. Keys and phone.
Yay! Brilliant. I like that.
Yeah. And now I never forget, and I always sound like an idiot leaving the house.
Hey, look, I'd rather sound like an idiot than actually be one for leaving any of those things behind.
Amen.
Who cares if if someone thinks you're a fool? At least you know what you're being a fool about.
Yes. I'm a fool on a mission.
But don't forget my
I like to
keys.
forget my crap.
You forgot your wallet, so who's laughing now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recently.
And then of course you hit the old dilemma where you need your glasses to find your glasses.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Oh, I already have.
I have Bluetooth on 2 out of 3 of those. Well,
The amount of times I've
3 out of
broken
4 of
my
those things. I do not have Bluetooth stuck to my
I can't see it. It's ridiculous.
glasses. I don't know. Said I want that. Yeah, I have a Bluetooth tracker on my keys in my wallet. So, because I lost my wallet for a day and a half, and it was sitting on my desk. Just kind of sitting there in the shadows. So are there, I guess the kinds of missions you get for your rank missions depends on where you go.
Yeah, you don't usually get those at like rescue ships, you know, but you might get them at other stations in the system or in other places with Empire or Federation aligned factions. Get asked this a lot, and there seems to be no guaranteed way to get them. You know, you just got to basically fly around, and it does help you if you're at least cordial or friendly with that faction too. They're more likely to hand them out if you're anywhere from kind of cordial up to allied.
Yeah, and again, doing these is a great way to get there.
It is, yeah, and you can always use Inara.
A lot of missions at once.
True, and what you can do as well is you can look at the factions that are in the system where you are, the ones that you're doing these rescue missions for, and you can look those factions up on Inara and find out if they exist in any other systems as well. Yeah, so you could go into, yeah, exactly, and keep travelling around to their systems, and maybe sooner or later one of them will offer you a ranking mission.
Yeah.
So that's another way.
Yeah,
like, well, Sirius Core are all everywhere. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
And they've got their fingers
Getting
in
good
all
with
the
them is
pies.
just good business.
Well, I don't know about good business. Good might be stretching it a little bit since it's Sirius we're talking about. Especially if you go for all the tinfoil about Sirius and who they really are and what they're really up to.
Oh, what's that? I don't know. I'm not up to date on the lore.
Oh, well, they're not nice people.
Ah.
Sirius Corporation are not nice people. They're presumed to be the corporate arm of an ultra-secret society called the Club, who are, to cut a long story short, quite happy to sacrifice the rest of humanity for their own personal gain, or leave us to face the music if the Thargoids attack so that they can run away and save their own skins. They've also been known for selling to both sides during the war, and it's believed that they've been trying to escalate an arms race between the Federation and the Empire to develop better weapons to use against the Thargoids, but then stopping it short of an all-out war. I mean, if you look at the story, the recent story, this whole thing with the Marlinists, you know, the Marlinists were being persecuted by the Empire because of the actions of a few extremists. They fled to Federation space. That caused a lot of tension between the Federation and the Empire, which almost came to blows. And it was Sirius Corporation who stepped in and said, we can't allow this to happen, you know, we can't allow two superpowers to go to war. Now, I mean, just think about that for a minute. The arrogance of a company saying, we can't allow two superpowers to go to war. We? Really?
Yeah.
That'd be like me in
How
charge
did
of my
how
own
would I have
company,
a
wouldn't it?
say?
Exactly. That'd be like me in charge of my own company, going to America and Russia and say, right, you lot, you got to stop this. And America saying, yeah, and who the hell are
It's
you?
just getting bad for business.
Yeah, and America going like, who the hell are you? And Russia using lots of words ending in off. And so, you know, they'd soon tell me where to go, wouldn't they? So that gives you some idea of Sirius's power. The Empire and Feds just kind of meekly went along with this. And that gives you some idea of Sirius's power and influence.
Yeah.
And if you notice, in every single major storyline since this big new story, you know, Sirius have been involved.
Yeah.
Their department, Sirius Atmospherics, got involved with, you know, the Alliance expansion into the Coalsack sector.
Yeah.
They stepped in and said, we'll take control of this summit. And they stepped in and said, we will find new homes for the Marlinists if it stops you guys fighting over them. And the same name comes up again. Sirius, Sirius, Sirius.
Interstellar megacorporations.
Yep. Even without the conspiracy theory, you can, you know, none of us have a problem imagining corporations that are more powerful than the government and protecting their own interests, you know.
Just look at the EITC and extrapolate outwards.
Sure, I mean, you know, big corporations who are like just so rich they're above the law, and in Elite that has been taken to the ultimate extreme, where these people are pretty much allowed to run their businesses entirely unregulated as they see fit. And there's nothing that any of the governments can really do to stop them.
I'm just sitting here watching. Oh, hey, stop that! Yeah, watching my swarms of limpets flying around. I've got like 17 limpets out right now.
That's cool. Yeah, the more the better.
Let's see here. It does not take. Oh, I already got all the stuff. Time to go.
It doesn't take long at all, no. I've got 21 on the Corvette, so with 256 tons of cargo. So what I do is I generally take 168 limpets, so that's 8 runs.
Yeah.
You do know you can log to the menu and back, and they'll refresh, and you can go in and collect them again, right?
No, I've been popping out of the instance and just flying back in.
But you can also pop to the menu and back.
Oh, that's nice. And just so I don't. Okay. And just to the main menu.
Just quit to the main menu and then go back into wherever you were, open, solo, private, group, whatever.
Yeah. Solo's probably better for this.
Yeah, it is, because then you've not got other people nicking stuff while you're trying to pick it up. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be enough of it to go around.
There really isn't. I mean, if I can get everything that's in there in 30 seconds, you know, I can't imagine what 4 or 5 people would end up doing.
Exactly. Very much so.
Mission objective complete. 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 Mission objective complete.
I'm also really enjoying my HCS voice packs on this one.
Alright, yeah.
Even though I'm not talking to it, all the little nifty ancillary scripts that they put in are pretty cool.
Right.
Are you aware?
Kind of. I don't use them, but I mean, yeah, I've talked to enough players who do that I know that they're able to automate a fair bit of it, as well as informing you of things that are going on in the game as well.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I am aware that they can be used for that they've got a lot of different uses.
The one that I'm feature I'm really liking today is that it automates your heatsink usage.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I would not be as cavalier about this task. Without
What? So you're actually telling it to launch it? You can tell it to automatically launch a
No,
heatsink when you get to
yeah,
what, a certain
it's
temperature?
a setting. I'm not even having to tell it to do it. It just the heat's at 95%. Launch it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, you can tell it when it gets to a certain temperature, just launch one.
Yeah.
That's very cool, actually. That's very cool.
And it also sounds the discovery horn every time you go to a new system.
Uh-huh.
That was worth the price of admission by itself, man.
Oh, certainly, if you're an explorer, yes.
You're right there, little man.
And some of them are kind of funny. They're exclamations. Although that one I would turn on.
What was that one for?
It's a reference to Flash Gordon.
Yes, of course.
It's Braven's Alive.
Braven's Alive, oh, very good.
I got Brian Blessed, the guy that played the Hawkman.
Yeah, I know
Flash
who
Gordon.
Brian Blessed is, yeah.
Oh, you would. Sorry. Right side of the pond for that.
He's a national hero, don't you know?
He's a pretty cool dude. I mean, he is an interesting fellow all the way around.
I've got his autobiography, it's hilarious.
I'm kind of I'm mildly disappointed that they didn't let him off the script a little more and just let him be himself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's been in absolutely everything.
Yeah. He's played Pavarotti, if for crying out loud, I mean...
Yeah.
And he sang Pavarotti's part.
But his autobiography is hilarious.
I'll have to get it sometime.
I've got it on audio and he's reading it.
That was going to be my thought on the subject.
And yeah, oh, it's just hysterical.
They also have both of the Hollies from Red Dwarf.
Oh, excellent. I've got Leo as my Kovas, so...
Ah, yeah. I was disappointed with him as a Kovas, because he's not nearly as, he's kind of dry and boring. And I'm hoping that his voice pack is a little bit more funny. Of course, his personality as Holly was a bit dry and boring.
Well, that depends. On I mean, that's British deadpan humour. You know, so I mean, there is humour to be found in it, but you maybe have to be British to appreciate it.
No. I mean, the things that made him funny was his sense of sarcasm, and they didn't give Leo much to be sarcastic about.
No, they didn't. Oh, just handy spare
it's
ones
just,
into...
Holly as if he was functioning correctly.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there. I mean, to me, it's just, it reminds... It's a nice reference. It reminds me of Red Dwarf, so, I'm happy.
Yeah. Although, if you, his voice pack references his pet dog Dave a lot.
Ha! Very good. Everybody's dead, Dave. Dave, everybody's dead. Everybody is dead, Dave. Dave, everybody is dead.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, Holly. Are you trying to tell me everyone's dead?
Let's see. Did I get everything again? No, not yet.
Oops. have some limpets still. Oh, two limpets are stopping me from swapping out my
They have
cargo
couple
rack for a
of the-
passenger
oh,
bay.
oops.
Right,
They
take two.
have a couple of the Doctors Who.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Seriously, what have I still got in stock? Oh, encrypted correspondence. Of course, you can't hand that in. Gotta sell it. I'm selling encrypted correspondence. That doesn't sit right, but hey. It's taking up cargo
always get
space.
commissions for that one.
Yeah. It's okay, I mean... I remember at first
So
that used to
if
throw our plug-in because it registered them if they were handed in through search and rescue, and then it didn't register them if they were handed in through missions, and I got onto Nemo and he fixed that. And then I noticed that with encrypted correspondence, if you sold it through the commodity market, it didn't register as being handed in, so he's fixed that, so now it does. Wherever you hand them in on the rescue ship,
Yeah.
the plugin now tracks it properly. It doesn't differentiate, it just shows them as being handed in.
Yeah.
That might be something that we could add later, you know, so how many were handed into missions, how many were handed into the search and rescue contact, you know, how many were sold on the commodity market and so on. That could be something that we could go into later. Maybe it could generate a little report, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe we could get it to generate a little report or something. That might be quite a cool addition. So then you'd know, you know?
Seems like this is a regular occurrence. Like there's one every couple of weeks.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It kind of goes through phases. And we had Thargoid attacks at New Year's Eve.
Yes, that's the first time I became aware of this loop. And
Yeah, this
I
whole burning
tried that
stations
out.
mechanic. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, not entirely. Before that, the last attack we had, I think, was October, November, and it was only one station that the NMLA had bombed, and that's what the whole Nine Martyrs thing is all about. Because the Marlinists had fled to refugee space, and the Federation were kind of looking after them and arguing about what to do with them, you know. Zachary Hudson saying deport them, Felicia Winters saying no, we can't do that. And so while they're arguing about it, the NMLA bombed the station where the Marlinist refugees are being held until the Federation can decide what to do with them. And they've apparently bombed the place because 9 of the NMLA are amongst the refugees, and they've bombed them before the Federation can question them, realise who they are, and hand them over to the Empire. You know, so it wasn't like they had any beef with the Federation themselves. You know, they were just stopping more information about them being handed over, you know. And and that's where the whole Nine Martyrs thing came along. Apparently there were 9 of their members aboard that Fed station when they bombed it. Before that was the NMLA bombing the 4 stations in the Empire, and that was the first time that we'd actually had stations burning as a result of terrorist attacks instead of the Thargoids. Previously, it had only ever been the Thargoids attacking. But before that, before
we take one
end of
hell a-
August,
a,
was it end of August? Was it the beginning of September? Before that, it had only ever been Thargoids, and the last time they'd attacked the place was attacked anywhere was January to February, so there was a whole sort of 6-7 months with no burning stations last year.
Yeah.
And before January and February, they bombed new stations every week for round about a year, maybe a little bit over, maybe a little bit under. I don't remember precisely because I didn't get into rescues and into this squad until 3 months before those bombings stopped. But they went on for most of a year, and ended in August. And then there was like a 5-month break until January, and then they briefly attacked between January and February, and then that stopped. And then there were no more burning stations until this new storyline came along in August. And then at the end of August, beginning of September, whenever it was, we suddenly find out that there's a new way to bomb stations by terrorist attack, not just by Thargoid attack. So the Thargoids bombed stations in the bubble for over a year. And
Yeah.
let's just say just over a year for sake of argument, because I think it started just before Distant Worlds 2 and it ended in August. And our squad was set up during May. So we got about 3-4 months in worth of rescues, and then they stopped. And then when they attacked again in January, their tactics had changed. And instead of apparently attacking 6 stations indiscriminately, they were very targeted. They actually targeted the home systems of AXI groups and Operation Ida, you know. And we speculated that if we were a faction with our home system and not just a squadron with no home system, that they may have hit us too. But so we did rescues during January and February, and then they all stopped. And at the time, I put that down to 2 things. I mean, A, the pandemic and FDev having to rearrange their home and work balance, and
Yeah.
B, the fact that they still had a major bug fix and fleet carriers to get out.
Yeah. I completely believe that.
And so when they stopped, I thought that's a shame, because it looked like they were taking the attack somewhere new. You know, rather than these random indiscriminate attacks, we've had these heavier
Yeah.
incursions where they, instead of attacking 6 stations, they'll maybe attack 3 or 4, you know. And this is much more interesting because for the first time as well, we had incursions lasting for more than a week.
Yeah.
We had stations on fire for more than a week. And, you know, that was actually how we worked out that, you know, how long a station burns for is directly tied to the incursion state. When it's a Thargoid attack, when it's a terrorist attack, I think FDev just like stop it when they think, yeah, that's long enough. And then all the stations stop at once. But so we don't know how long they'll burn for this time round.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll burn for just a week because it's such a big attack that I think if they only burn for a week, then that would be a bit lame. I think they've got to burn for at least a fortnight to represent the scale and the size of the attack.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And it would be interesting to, you know, I would like to have a player-involved event watching the attacks happen, giving us a chance, you know, in the future to do something about it.
Or even see if it really is the NMLA or someone else.
Yeah.
You know, because, I mean, I have my doubts that it is actually them. And I'm not the only one. There's a few people who think this is some kind of false flag going on. And somebody just using the NMLA's name to do this.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people.
I'm one of those people too. So yeah, we've got our tinfoil hats on. We don't know who's behind it, but we think someone else is apart from the NMLA, and we are not alone in this opinion. there's a few of us who are thinking, hold on, you know, there's a few things about this whole situation that don't add up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a funny thing, right? You said tinfoil hats.
I did.
Okay. Well, the reason that why that ever worked in the first place is tinfoil is an insulator, but now everybody's gone to aluminum, and that's a conductor.
Yeah, I know. So it's actually going to make even more things happen in your head.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I did know that actually, but I mean the thing is that we've all gone to we've all sort of so embraced the term tinfoil to refer to
I know.
any conspiracy theory that we've all forgotten that they're not actually made of tin anymore. Yeah. But you're absolutely right, of course. I'm just waiting for the number of people who are now going to go, ah, right, and they're going to be breaking open baked bean tins and like hammering flat the tin inside to see how flat they can make it.
That is a thing in Japan, man. Polished foil balls.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah, just right. You crumple up aluminum foil and you make it as smooth as possible.
Oh, yes, yes. I thought you actually meant actual tin.
Yeah.
Taking tins apart and, you know, getting the actual tin out, if they even use tin.
Actually, I know how to do that.
Well, maybe you could make yourself a genuine tinfoil hat made of tin, not aluminium.
Yeah. Well, the question is, are tins made of tin anymore?
I don't think they are made of tin
Made
anymore.
out of tin anymore.
Maybe tin plating inside, but they're probably made of steel, and then there'll just be a bit of tin plating. Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to Google this now. What are food cans made out of?
I think Azua's right, and tin is too rare now and too expensive. The packaging, it costs more than the food.
Yeah.
Oh, I meant more like plating an aluminum can with tin. But...
Yeah. Do they make cans out of aluminium? Don't know. They do.
Yeah, actually, it's aluminum alloy.
It's an alloy. I was going to say, because aluminium by itself would be too soft. An alloy I can get.
Obviously, soda cans are made out of aluminum.
Notes for anybody watching this stream, if you're awake, that we have the British and American pronunciations. We've got aluminum and aluminium both on the same channel. You heard it here first.
It's reflexive. I have no problems with either of them.
No, I don't have a problem with either of them. I was sort of either and either. There you go. We go again. Tomato, tomato. Let's call the whole thing off.
Yep.
Damn it, I was just about to make a joke about how we haven't had that argument yet.
Well, there's still that vegetable that you make French fries out of.
Potato?
Well, who says potato? Nobody says potato.
I have no idea, honestly.
I say potato, you say potato, nobody says potato. I don't even know where that one comes from.
Maybe the posh say.
Probably someone who wanted to sound clever.
Yeah, tomato, tomato. I mean, I say tomato, but I don't say potato. But
No,
while we're on the subject of like American and English or British or whatever you want to call it pronunciations.
We'll
What?
call it English for now if you want. 200 years is long enough for proper linguistic deviation.
Yeah, for sure. Although I swear you just did it deliberately to annoy the English, which is fine by me because I'm Scottish actually, so you know I don't care. But yes, right. Okay, now you don't say things like like if you're talking about Hillary or Bill, you don't say Hillary Clinton, do you? So why do you say Python? Why didn't you say Python?
I do.
So many Americans say Python, and they emphasize the thon. And I've just always wondered why they do that when there are other words ending in similar sounding syllables, and they don't do that.
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Yeah, I just wondered if that was a cultural thing, that's all.
Regional.
Regional, possibly. Yeah, it could be.
Because remember, like, a large chunks of the southern states are colonized by Scots, so we have a lot of your linguistic traditions too.
Hmm. Yeah, it could be a regional thing.
And our biscuits are more kind of are a Scottish shortbread. So
Yeah, your biscuits are more like cake.
and I love them.
Successful. Engines disengaged.
Oh, I do love some fluffy biscuits.
Fair enough. Fluffy biscuits.
Yeah.
They sound very, very strange to me. But, yeah, I'd like to try them, you know.
A lot like it's a lot like a crumpet.
Yeah, or a scone.
Scone. That's the
Or a
word
scone.
I was looking for. Scones.
Scone or a scone.
But
Now, we
not-
do have that one. Even in Britain, we have that one. We have some people who say scone and some people who say scone. We do have that. I mean, I even interchange sometimes. So sometimes I'll say scone and sometimes I'll say scone.
Yeah.
So I'm not consistent. Guilty is charged on that one.
I don't really know that one. Anyway. Oh man. I've yet to get all of my friends to actually try haggis yet.
I don't know what
course.
people have got against haggis. I really don't. I mean, they go, "Oh my God, haggis, haggis! Look at what it's made of," and I'm like, "You eat sausages, don't you?"
Yeah, you don't ask about what's in your sausage. Just don't.
Yeah. You probably never eat sausages again if you knew what was in them, you know. But I mean, the
Yeah.
thing is, all the haggis. That's all the haggis really tastes like—a big peppery sausage.
Well, I think if it tastes like a liver sausage, but yeah.
Yeah, I find them very peppery.
Maybe that's a difference between the one I had wasn't terribly peppery.
Ah,
But
right.
I think it was a matter of who the person that made it.
It could be. It could be. Mostly, I mean, if you get an actual Scottish haggis, then usually it is very peppery. And that's all it really tastes like—a big peppery sausage. The only difference is that it kind of falls apart, you know, rather than staying in one piece.
Yes.
But no, haggis is nice.
Oh man, I wish you could could have come over last night. A friend of mine was able to get some a pair of boar shanks from Post. They were just giving them away. There's a
You know, maybe change the title of your stream from Elite Dangerous to Discussion of Cooking and Linguistics.
Hey, you never know what you're going to talk about on one of my streams. You know, we invite discussions on all kinds of topics while we're playing Elite Dangerous. If you want to talk about food, linguistics, conspiracy theories, you know, bring it on. Let's talk about it.
When you're on your stream, be prepared for anything.
Yeah, I mean, you'll probably get me talking about Formula One at one point, so, yeah.
if you ever want to come, man, I live right down the road from the track in Manor.
Kota, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome track. Really like it.
I've driven by it a lot, never actually been.
I do like it as a track. I think it's one of the better American tracks, to be honest.
I'm glad to hear that. For us, generally, it's just a major traffic problem.
I can imagine that too. Yeah, yeah. But I've watched GT racing there, and I've watched Formula One there, and I think out of all of the tracks in America that's ever held a Formula One race, COTA is the best track that the Americans have ever put together. And it really is. It really is a fantastic.
They run bicycle races out there too.
Oh, cool. I mean, it's the corners, the changes in elevation, the technical challenge of it. It's really well thought out, but not to the point where they've just put a bunch of Mickey Mouse corners in there to challenge you. You know, they've actually got a nice flow going around it as well, and it really has had a lot of effort and thought put into it. I really do like that track. I think it's the best racetrack that America's ever produced. And I say that as a fan of Watkins Glen and a few other tracks in America. And I think COTA knocks them all into a cocked hat. It's an absolutely beautiful place.
But IndyCar car.
And it really is. I mean, it would be an absolute joy to race on if I ever raced. I'd love to do it.
They do have rental days out there. You can like
yeah, track days and stuff. They do it. Well, I live very close to Silverstone.
Okay, yeah, so you know what track day is all about.
Oh yeah, I've been to
dudes
track
that show up
days.
with Ariel Adams and rent them out. For
That's
them to
it.
drive.
Yeah, and I've been to Silverstone. I've cycled around Silverstone. Before they changed it many years ago, before the new arena layout, it was the old layout. And anyone who thought that Silverstone was a flat airfield, well, it's not, because there were a few uphill sections that had me puffing and panting. But I did a bicycle ride round there for charity, you know, just raising money for charity. And it was a fantastic day. I've never actually seen Formula One there, but I've seen other things there. I've seen bikes there, and I've even seen trucks there. But they have lots of races there. They have classic cars, they have GT, all kinds of things, not just Formula One. I'd love to go down there with the camera on one of their classic car days. That would be awesome. Seeing some really old Ferraris and Maseratis and Mercedes and things, you know.
That sounds like an absolute blast.
You know, that would be awesome. Some old Lotuses and, you know. If they've still got them, of course.
So you sound like the kind of person that would have an opinion on this. New Top Gear or old Top Gear?
Neither. I never did like Top Gear. I always found it was, I always found it was a bit too smug and self-satisfied.
I can understand that opinion. Jeremy Clarkson is definitely smug and self-satisfied.
Oh, they all are. Jeremy, Richard, James, they all are. I never liked it. It was always too full of itself. You know, they did occasional good things, occasional things that were fun and that kind of thing. But
I really liked the specials, but they're not living up to the promise.
Let's face it, it's more of an extended comedy routine.
Yeah. At its best, they just shut up and you watch the film crew do their thing.
Yeah.
And it's...
I like it when they get celebrities to do their racetrack. That's quite fun.
Yeah.
So they had like the fastest religion, the fastest Doctor Who, and that kind of thing. You know, that was all fun. So it's hilarious when Kimi Raikkonen was going around the Top Gear track and he actually like missed a gear going around one of the corners. Like, there you go, Formula One driver, and he's missed a gear going around the corner. And you just hear him going around the corner, and he goes, "Whoops."
Yep.
With typical Kimi understatement.
I think it's sorry, back on Elite Dangerous. I love coming back into the port and having a whole bunch of excess cargo and just picking the missions for the cargo that I have.
Yeah. I used to pick the missions first, but actually now I just go and pick up a load of pods and stuff until I'm full, and then just go back, hand them all in, and usually like I just hand them all in until I've run out the mission board, emptied the mission board, and then hand the rest in through search and rescue. You know, if there's only like half a dozen.
As much, but you know.
No, it isn't.
Got, right?
It isn't. I'm not worried about reputation, and I'm not worried about money. But I think handed in through the mission board has more of an effect. You know, in helping to defeat the incursion, or the terrorist attack, or whatever. It has more effect than handing them in through search and rescue. So it's not just about money. It's also about, you know, in the case of a Thargoid incursion, defeating that quicker, and in the case of a terrorist attack, hopefully defeating that quicker. But we don't know, because we've got no benchmark for how terrorist attacks work. You know, because with the Thargoid attacks, you know, we had some stations going into repair and other stations still burning because more rescues had been done at them. But the last time they had 4 stations attacked by terrorists was when we had the very first terrorist attack. And in those cases, they just stopped all 4 stations burning at once. So I have a feeling that the same thing will happen again. Is that a door?
No, that was him putting stuff in the bin.
Speaking of stations burning, Wolfdragon asked me for our rescue bit build earlier. It's considering the use of search and rescue content to boost the turning the wheel initiative.
Well, if
the odds and wreckage and stuff and turning them in.
I wonder if that does boost the influence for the dark wheel in a system where they've got a station that's burning. Like I say, I was talking to one of the turning the wheel guys about this, and he says we've actually got no data on burning stations. We've not done any research on it. You guys have probably done more research on it than us. And I said, well, we have, but not in respect to how it affects the BGS.
I'm not sure he's interested in burning stations and more in the search and rescue contact.
Search and rescue contact only helps the controlling faction, I think. And also, I think it just contributes to this big galactic abstract figure that they've made up. Because you get search and rescue contacts everywhere. But I imagine if it helps, if you helps anyone, it would only help the controlling faction in the same way as all the other contacts do. You know, authority contact, commodity market, universal cartographics, that kind of thing. They only help out the controlling faction if you submit to them. So unless the faction you wanted to help was a controlling faction, handing in search and rescue stuff would do nothing.
So, what's your favorite way of making cash in the game right now?
That's a good question, actually, because
this is decent cash, but it's not the fastest.
well, no, but I'm not doing it because it's the fastest. I mean, I'm sitting on 10 billion and I've got a fleet carrier.
As far as fast goes,
well, almost 10 billion.
Scanner at a compromise map.
Yay, I just hit 10 billion. So I just hit 10 billion. I've got a fleet carrier and a fleet of ships. So mining was fun.
Yeah.
Combat seems to be the way to go these days.
Yeah. And that's fairly simple.
Yeah. Favourite way to make money isn't necessarily the fastest way.
Fair enough.
I would say probably my favourite way to make money would probably be exploring.
To a certain extent, that's mine too.
You know, but it's not the quickest.
There gets to be a certain point where I'm just tired of, you know, traveling in the same direction. And I mean, I have some systems to my name. There's nothing in them.
Remind me to have a chat with you one day about mass codes.
Okay. Alright, I think I'm gonna hop off. It's almost 5 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, well thanks for dropping in. That's appreciated.
Yeah, I had a great time. I need to let my dog out. He smells like he needs to use the bathroom. Alright, take care.
Alright, mate. Good to see you.